Okay, welcome back to the Zobin Whiteboard Show. This is episode number 2, and I'm going to talk about animal husbandry today. If I were to score keep using the Dewey Decimal System, I would file today's episode under 636.08, which would be animal husbandry but specific topics, and that's what I want to kind of get at today. Animal husbandry is kind of a delicate topic, especially for people that are animal lovers like I am. But it kind of contains multiple facets, from just simply raising animals and the care and the maintenance of animals, specifically farm animals. But then also getting into selective breeding and artificial insemination and techniques of artificial insemination. And that's really what I'm going to get at. And that's kind of where it gets a little delicate, because it's a little gross. And anyway, animal husbandry really dates back to the Neolithic revolution from 1300 BC going forward. So even the ancient Egyptians would have been using animal husbandry, or what would be, would come to known as animal husbandry. Speaking of Egyptians, Egyptian males were the ones that actually came up with makeup, like rouge and eyeliner. And I did remember my glasses, so indubitably. Remember, my voice lowers an octave and my intelligence goes up commensurate with the glasses being on. And when they come off, I'm really dumb. Anyway, also, what are animals raised for? Meat, fiber, like wool, things like that, milk. And interestingly enough, this is kind of an aside, but that's what we do here on the Zobin Whiteboard Show. So if you think about skim milk, right, that is considered 0% milk fat. And I guess normally the caps on those bottles is pink. It doesn't have to be, but it can be. Then you'll see kind of a low fat milk, and that's 1%, and that's usually yellow. Again, not always, but it can be. And yellow meaning just on the cap itself. Then you'll see kind of a 2% milk, which is kind of, I guess, maybe just more of a standard. That one typically has like a blue cap on the bottle. And then you skip down to whole milk, which usually has a red cap, and that's 4%. And I've always found it curious that you don't really have a 3% milk. Now you could create, and of course I would have thought that green would have been the natural one, but sometimes you'll see green on these other ones. But anyway, you could take and kind of make your own 3% milk by combining equal parts of 2 and 4, divide by 2, and there you'd get your 3%. It'd actually be probably pretty good. A little bit more milk fat than 2%, but not quite as much as whole milk. Also wanted to talk about these things, these lighters, right? But just be careful if you, just a standard lighter, but be careful because there is now this new version that they've got out, which is called a heavier. And anyway, animal husbandry. So specifically, oh, by the way, I'm going to try to make my shows shorter. Nobody said anything about it being too long. The first episode was about 30 minutes, a half hour, but bounced the idea off a couple of friends of mine, and they've kind of felt it might be better to shorten them down to, well, probably 30 seconds. but 5 minutes, that's what I'm going to try to shoot for here. So I'll try to be brief here. Anyway, animal husbandry. Specifically, I want to talk about artificial insemination and how I feel like, as it relates to artificial insemination, that animal husbandry should actually be called animal boyfriendery. Okay? And the reason I'm saying, hang on just a second, I think we got a phone call. I think we have a phone call. Hello? Oh, Hansel. Okay. Oh, God. You know, yeah, okay. Um, all right. That's a little weird, but I suppose in a weird way it ties in. Okay, I'll mention it. All right, all right. You have kind of a one-track mind, you know that, don't you? Okay. Well, thanks for calling. Give my best to Gretel. All right. Yep. Bye. That was our friend Hansel, and he was, remember, the long-time caller, first-time listener. And anyway, oh, and by the way, if you want to get in on this, just give me a buzz. My number is 555, and give me a shout. We'll get you on air. We'll get you on air if you make a mistake. Air if you inherit this show, or air, obviously, if you just get on my show. Now, you remember last time Hansel talked about how he felt that eggnog should really be called sperm nog because it has more of the texture and the appearance of sperm than egg. Well, now he is talking about how he feels, and this is a little early by about 3 months or so, but how he feels that we should do Easter sperm hunts instead of, well, not necessarily instead of, but in addition to Easter egg hunts. You could still do those, but he feels there should also be Easter sperm hunts. And beyond that being offensive and gross and utterly impractical, I guess there could be a way you would do it. You'd have to express the sperm in some crazy way, and then you'd probably want to dye it different colors, probably fluorescent, and then you would hide the sperm either indoors or outdoors if it was an outdoor hunt. Anyway, yes, it can be done. Thank you, Hansel. But I feel like it should be called animal boyfriendery, and the reason is, and again, not to be too graphic here, but the techniques of artificial insemination of farm animals are very weird, and they would be almost kinky, you know. And I'm not going to get too graphic. You can kind of imagine what they would entail. And I just feel that when you are a husband, unless you're in a pretty crazy relationship with your wife or your husband, you're probably not having really weird sex anymore. That's kind of the domain of the boyfriend. Like when you're getting out the vacuum cleaner and you're getting out just kind of the props and all the whips and chains and all the crazy stuff. Not that I ever got into that, but so I just feel like my idea is animal husbandry is fine as a broad term for many of the practices that you know really fall under this broader canopy. But as it relates to the artificial insemination of farm animals, I feel that that should be called animal boyfriendery, because I feel like the techniques that are used to artificially inseminate a farm animal are more, that'd be more something a boyfriend would do rather than a husband. I just feel like if it was a husband, it would be a little bit more boring, and it would probably not artificial at that point. So anyway, that's our new streamlined episode. This is episode 2 of the Zobin Whiteboard Show. Again, hopefully if you have any questions or you want to get on air, just give me a buzz. 555 is the number, and we will see you next time. Indubitably.